Zachary from the Asatru Folk Assembly, and this is the first of what will hopefully be a lot of videos about my views on Asatru and my opinions on whatever questions you guys ask me, because that's what I'm hoping to get done here. I hope that I can offer a different perspective than a lot of the other heathens who post videos, answer questions. Steve McNallen, Mike Smith from New Hampshire, both of the Asatru Folk Assembly, because I'm a lot younger than both of those guys, and from what I know, I got into Asatru at a much younger age, so I have the advantage, I guess, of having the experience of growing up and having my views evolve with all my other views on life as opposed to after. So I posted a thread in the Asatru Folk Assembly forum asking people to give me topics that they would like to hear me riff on, basically. And the first one I got was asking what got me into Asatru and why Asatru and how it affects me as a person, it affects my life. Which I think is a really good question to start out on, because anything else that you would want to hear is easily found anywhere else on the internet or in the editors or anything. So that's the one I'm going to be talking about today. So let's see, why Asatru for me? Well, I started very young. Anywhere between the ages of 6 and 8. So I went to Catholic school for about 6 months when I was 5 years old, and it didn't work out so well. I had a lot of trouble with the teachers and the way that they taught and the way that they acted, and they had a lot of problems with the way that I acted, throwing cupcakes at the walls, standing on desks, things of that sort. So I wasn't there for very long, which I'm very thankful for, because if I had, I wouldn't have had access to the things that I did in public school. In public school, I went to the library, as we did once or twice a week, and found a book that many of us are probably very familiar with from being younger, particularly the older ones of the Asatru Folk Assembly and the heathen community. It would be Delaire's Book of Norse Myths. I found this tome of children's mythology and fell in love with it instantly. It was very colorful, great illustrations to go along with the not simplified but more accessible versions of the lore, and I didn't put it down for months. And I remember what stuck with me particularly was the story of Odin giving his eye to Mimir in return for the Jotun's knowledge and his wisdom, which it's so weird to me now to think that that was what stuck with me, that the concept of sacrificing something of yourself to gain wisdom, but that was what really struck a chord with me. And after those couple months of reading that over and over again, I really kind of put it in the backseat and didn't forget, but kind of put it on hold, because okay, it was a good book. I learned a lot from it. But then a year or so, maybe a little bit more later, for whatever reason, just came to my head was the story of Thor going to Utgard Loki. And I just remember how distinctly I remembered it. All the trials and tribulations that he goes through, all the names, and it just hit me like a thunderbolt that I needed to go to the library and get every book that I possibly could get my hands on. I got a book of plays, one of which was Vikings of Helgeland. I got the Sagas of the Icelanders, which were way beyond my ability to read at the time, but I tried anyways. I found a copy of the Snorietta. I read that. I read everything I could get my hands on, and by the time I was finished, I had decided, like, I knew that this was for me. I just knew that it was right, that it felt right. So that was what I would say is the beginning of my conversion, my transformation into the heathen that I am now. I was probably late 7, early 8 years old, and I thought I was the only one in the world. I didn't know that anybody believed this, or thought this, or had for 1,000 years. And so, time passed for about 5 years. Thought I was the only one, and was talking to Odin and Thor on my own time. And then when I was about 13, through the advent of the internet, I discovered modern Asatru. At the time, I didn't even have a word for it, and just came upon it and was so mind-blown that not only were there other people in the world who felt the same and believed the same that I did, but they were together, they were organized, they were doing things, and that amazed me so much. It just strengthened my belief that what I was doing was right, because I wasn't the only one who was doing it. So, at that point, I guess of the 3 stages of my evolution as a heathen, the first reading about it, the second one deciding that was what I wanted, and the third one realizing that I wasn't the only one. That was probably the big one that, like, finally decided what I was going to be doing with my life and afterlife. So, I'm 19 now. That was 6 years ago. And just last year, I joined the Asatru Folk Assembly because I decided that I wanted more community, because I've been solitary for so long. And it's been amazing to talk to other heathens and hear other people's ideas on what the 9 worlds are like, how they view the gods, what is the nature of the gods. Particularly watching the videos of Mike Smith from the AFA and, of course, Steve McMallen. And it's really just helped me to grow more and more as a heathen. And that's why Asatru for me.